We're going to continue to talk about volume, and there are several different types of problems in this video. Watch the example for each one, stop the video, complete the problem that you're given, continue on until it's done, check all your work, and you have to bring your work to class to receive credit. So remember, volume is the amount of space inside a three-dimensional figure. It's measured in cubic units, okay? So you can see a rectangular prism here. It's three-dimensional because it has length, width, and height. Okay, and you want to know how many cubic units will fit in. So you could think, how many of these little cubic units could you stuff into this rectangular prism without any overlapping? And you're always going to do length times width times height to find the volume of a rectangular prism. Okay, so the formula, we're always going to write the formula first. Volume equals length times width times height. You can see these are a little bit more complicated because they have fractions. So I'm going to substitute in there. Okay, the length is 3.5 times the width is 1.5 times the height is 2. Okay, remember, if you were doing these now, you don't have any repeating decimals in here, so you could use decimals in there. Okay, you could do 3.5 times 1.5 times 2. Okay, I'm going to stick with fractions down here. Okay, you can never multiply mixed numbers. You must make them improper fractions first. So 2 times 3 is 6. We have 7 halves times 3 halves. Okay, and I could just keep going and multiply everything by 2, but I'm going to do this first. 7 times 3 is 21. 2 times 2 is 4. Now I have 21 fourths times 2. Okay, I'm going to reduce first. 2 divided by 2 is 1. You can reduce any numerator with any denominator. 4 divided by 2 is 2. I get 21 halves. And remember, this also says 21 divided by 2. Okay. And I'm going to take my remainder and write it over my divisor. Okay, so 3.5 times 1.5 times 2 is 10.5. So the volume of this rectangular prism is 10.5 centimeters cubed. Okay, when you're finding volume, it's always in cubic units. Okay, stop the video and substitute the length, width, and height into your formula. And you're not going to want to use decimals here because you're going to have some repeating decimals. Okay, that's going to be a little bit more complicated with your answer. So stick with the fractions. Remember, you must make them improper fractions. So go ahead and stop the video. Work carefully. When you're done, start the video and move on. Okay, so this is the original problem that I worked on, and I calculated the volume to be 10.5 cubic units. So the volume of this is 10.5 centimeters cubed. Okay, now the question down here says double the height of the prism and calculate the volume. Okay, so we're going to double the height. So I'm going to write my formula. Length times width times height. Okay, and the length is 3.5 centimeters. The width is still 1.5. But now I'm going to double the height. The height was 2, and I'm going to double it to 4 and see what happens. Okay, again, you can never multiply mixed numbers. 2 times 3 is 6, so we have 7 halves times 3 halves. Okay, 21 fourths. Okay, and I'm going to multiply that by 4. Can reduce my numerator, my denominator. I've got 21 over 1. So the volume of my new prism is 21 units cubed. 21 units cubed. Okay. So how does the volume of the new prism compare to the original prism? Okay, well, my original volume was 10.5. My new one is 21. So when I doubled the height, okay, it's basically doubling, can't really see that here, but basically doubling the rectangular prism. So it doubled the volume. Okay. So here's your rectangular prism. Go back and look at your work, see what your volume was. You're going to double the height of the prism, calculate the volume, and see if that doubled the volume. Okay, does it always work, or does it depend on the dimensions? Work carefully, check your work, make sure you explain your answer, and stop the video when you're done. Okay, be sure to bring your work to class.